So I have some reed soaking, and I'm going to show you a couple different techniques to use the reed for. So the first thing, if you want to take this form that you've made, or you've made any other form, and you're trying to figure out how to connect it to other pieces, you can use the method of the twining where we made the spokes, and take one of the pieces of reed, fold it in half, and then put your spokes through that loop that you've made. And now you have an attachment to work with for something else. So this is one way of adding to this to actually start building on it. So you've created now this line of reed that then could be wrapped around and secured to a dowel. There are so many different options that you can of how you can attach this to something else. So another way of attaching things, I'm going to show you how to braid. So not only are you using this to attach your materials together or your forms together, your shapes and lines, but you can also create a more dense line with this instead of using this just one piece of reed. So I'm going to take this through some of the openings of the basket that I made, and I'm going to do the same type of folding and pulling through. Now before I tighten this all the way, I need 3 pieces of reed to braid with. So I'm going to put one more piece inside of these 2 spokes that are coming out. And I'm actually going to wrap it around and put the end back through in the center of the 2 spokes. So I'll clip that off later, but that will dry, and these will be tightened, so that's nice and secure then. So just like in the twining, I'm pulling one piece at a time. And I'm being mindful too of this intersection that I'm attaching it to. And you could really choose to attach it anywhere that you want. I just chose this intersection right here. So I'm going to pull all 3 of them, and now I'm going to braid. So to braid, you take the outside piece and bring it to the middle. I start on the right side and bring it from right to left to the center. Now the left side goes from left to right to the center. And I go back and forth from the right to the left, left to the right. And I'm going to do this all the way down. And as I'm doing this, I'm holding the intersection where they cross over each other to make sure it doesn't become loose. And I'm going to use this opportunity too now to add one more element into this. So I have the hole through this basket, and I'm actually going to use to braid this braid onto it, onto the dowel, so it's going to help secure the dowel. So I'm going over it, and now this one, instead of bringing this over to the center, I'm bringing it underneath the dowel to the center. Now this one comes under to the center, and now I'm going to go again over to the center, just so I cross different areas. And now that that's attached to the dowel, I can continue braiding. So I'll probably have to go back and lash this on. It might be tight enough. If you pull it tight enough, it should be able to stay. But you can see now I have 3 different elements that are all attached to each other. And this is just an example of how you can combine your materials just by using different methods of basketry. So now I've gotten to the end and I have about 4 or 5 inches left. I'm going to gather all 3 of these together. And I want to make sure they're all in line with each other, not crossing over. I'm actually going to trim this one so that they're all the same length. So I'm holding them so everything stays in a line. And I'm also pinching the end where I finished braiding. And now I'm going to pull all of those through. And that'll secure the braid from falling out. So as I look at this, it looks a little bit like a cup or an Olympic torch. So I would probably change it, but this is a good example of how you can use these different methods to combine all of these different elements together.